Wonderful. We are live with Jenifer Huynh from Peonies and Petals, and we're going to do something technically completely new.
That's why we are also a little bit late.
That's why we're just a little bit late, but we are trying to go live at the same time. So, Jenifer, help us out.
Okay, I'm going to start on the live connection. This is now. I have to add.
Yeah.
You have to view on my live video so that way you can be connected on the Peonies and Petals. We're going to do live streaming on both Facebook and it will be used for YouTube, and then it's going to be for Instagram as well.
Yes, so all the people have to tune in now to Peonies and Petals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
So there we go.
And then ask to join.
So I asked to join.
When you ring a nerd, then ring us next time.
I just added.
Now we are almost about to go live. Here we are.
Yeah, here we go.
Yes, cool.
Hello.
Awesome. So we have two devices going on.
Cool. So let me just try to mute this one here so we don't hear you double. Just 1 second. I think that's gonna work.
Oh wow, who's that?
Oh,
this is Thea.
Okay.
She's like my shadow.
Wonderful. What is his name?
Thea.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I'm so glad that we are now all together. Thank you so much for making this work and for waking up so early.
Yes, thank you. You are not an early bird. I know that. So very much appreciated.
And thank you so much for joining our Piece of the Puzzle series here with Yes Exclusive Flowers. We are actually super excited that you are online with us. We love your work. We have seen a lot about it, and I think a lot of people who maybe went online to just check out your work. Tell us a little bit more about what do you see in Peonies and Petals, and who is Jenifer, and why do you love peonies?
Well, actually, when I came up with the name, my favorite flower are not peonies. My favorite flowers are, yes, peonies are not my favorite flowers. But, I fell in love with the Sarah Bernhardt and the Bowl of Cream. Those are my favorite. Coral Charms, also one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite flower is Lilies of the Valley. But
yes.
Can I tell you, actually, this was my wedding flower,
yes.
almost 38 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It was Lily of the Valley and violets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want 3 bouquets for my wedding. I want all lilies of the valley for one of my bouquets. And lilies of the valley, the smell, the fragrance, the way it looks so elegant and dainty. I just love lilies of the valley. I love any white flowers like gardenias, anything that's white, phalaenopsis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so all the expensive, elegant flowers. Those are my favorite.
It says something about your taste. Not
yes,
bad.
thank you. And then all white peonies are my favorite, and they're the most fragile one. What else? I can't think of anything on the top of my head that is white, but all white flowers are my favorite. So when I came to a conclusion of having a name, before it was Jenifer Huynh, Floral Design and Events. It was just too long. Okay. People misspelled my name. It was not with one N. They spelled it with 2 N's. And then Huynh was not very common. They would spell it Nguyen, like Nguyen, which is a common Vietnamese name. And then it just got too complicated. And I said, okay, I need to come up with a name that people can slowly recognize, recognize very easily. So my background was teaching. I was a teacher for 16 years, and I did preschool. So, I made up songs, from Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So like that, those songs, I made up, songs for the kids. And then I would make felt stories. I would make, my favorite author was Eric Carle, like The Very Hungry Caterpillar. That was my favorite, all-time favorite one. So I started thinking, okay, well, these animals that we teach the kids that starts with A, like Andy Apple, Benny Bear, Callie Cat. And then I started thinking about Disneyland, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. Had the two D's and the two M's. So I said, okay, I need something with the same two letters. Lilies of the Valley was too long. Gardenia sounds like garden, so people won't see it correctly.
Garden service, yeah.
So I said peonies. Okay, what other word that starts with the letter P that has to do with flowers? So I said petals. So peonies and petals. It just came together, and then it just stuck with me, and everybody fell in love with it, and it's easy to pronounce. Sometimes people's like peonies or peonies or whatever it is, but people still say peonies or peonies. So then that's how I came about. But before this, before I opened my own business, it just started off from friends. It was just immediate friends and family, then friends of friends, and then word got out that I started doing flowers for people that I didn't even know of, and then I fell in love with it. I love serving and making all of my clients happy. I go that extra mile just to make them happy. I think I should have majored in business. I wanted to do international business, but I did psychology, school psychology, and I did child development instead. And then I went to grad school for my master's in school psychology, and then I fell out of it, and now I'm helping my family run my business. So we do nails. So I run that nail shop too, as I run my own flower, business. And then
I need you. I need you. This is like since lockdown started because we are not allowed to go anywhere.
No.
I
No.
need it, really.
Yeah, the nail business is like hurting so badly right now because of the COVID. They keep on saying April 1st you can open, then April 15th, then May 1st, then May 15th. And it came, and it's still, we can't open yet because we're in phase 3. Phase 2 already opened last Friday. So now we're just waiting for phase 3 to open. But they're afraid that people are going to get the coronavirus when they're getting their nails done. So we're already getting prepared, for all that, wearing our face shields and our face masks, and then telling the clients, if you come in, if you have someone to come in with you, they have to wait in the car. They have to wear a mask at all times. They have to use hand sanitizer when they come in. So we're taking all precautions. We're making petty shields and everything for to protect our customers and protect our workers as well. But I just going back to flowers, I literally was a teacher. My friend asked me, hey, what are you doing in the summertime? I said, nothing. They said, hey, you want to work for Square Root? It's one of, another really big company. And I said, Square Root, what am I going to do? Am I going to tutor kids? Because I thought Square Root was math. But no, it's this big company, and I went into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, I did Jewish weddings and Indian and Persian wedding, and then it was like galore, like flowers galore everywhere, on the ceiling, on the floor. The flowers were everywhere, even on the elephants. It was just amazing, and I learned from them. And then from then on, my sister said, hey, check out Karen Tran. I was like, who's this Karen Tran girl? Another Vietnamese girl? Like, oh, that's interesting because she's from my, she's Vietnamese. I'm like, oh, I want to know, who is this Karen Tran? And I looked her up. I'm like, oh my gosh, her work is amazing. And then I called her up. I was like, hey, do you need a freelancer? She goes, where have you worked? And I said, Square Root. And then she goes, you're hired, done. She didn't even need to see me. She didn't need to talk much. She says, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, whoa, that was very fast. So she, simple phone call. And then I went to San Diego, started working for her. And then I learned from so many amazing florist, and then it just snowballed from there. And I still work for other people, and I freelance, and I think um, as a designer, you have to keep on learning from others. You
Yeah.
say,
Yes.
oh, like, I like how they did that. Maybe I can incorporate it into my business. And then, or you can say, oh, what they did, I don't think that's a good idea. I would have done it differently, but I keep it in myself. I would keep it inside, and then I would implement all the good things that I liked what they did and implement into my business
That's
mentality.
really true. And I mean, we have never reached a point, like nobody of us that doesn't need to learn anymore. I mean, even like if you are very old, you still can actually learn something new technique, something that young people maybe do differently. And
It broadens your horizon.
yes,
I think
exactly.
it's brilliant that you also, like, as a very successful designer, you say, you're freelancing for other people. In this part of the world, still freelancing sometimes sounds like you are not as
advanced enough.
advanced enough to make it on your own. And I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a very
Yes,
big stereotype. I
Yeah.
think there is no better way than actually going out there and trying to learn
Yeah.
from the best, and maybe even from the worst, so that you actually know, and you take away what it is necessary to make your own style available to other people. And I think that is really, really also very humbling to hear that you still do that. Can you tell me what year was that when you started?
Ask,
Like,
yeah.
how many years ago is that?
So I started in 2006, and then I started opening my own business in 2011.
It's interesting, actually, that you say you also work for Karen Tran, because we also share a little, like, a part of our story or history is actually related to her, because at one day she contacted us if we would like to host her as first African Karen Tran masterclass here. So we have done the first African class in Cape Town like 5 years ago. Actually,
Wow.
this was a cornerstone of our flower business, actually. So from that onwards, we started selling flowers, because at the time there was just no flowers that we could really use in the quality that we needed for that. So out of this need, we started actually a business, because until that time we also worked like in the event industry, more or less, and before in the corporate world. But yeah, there is quite a similarity in a certain way. I actually usually used to watch your videos that you do, and first I always laughed. I came across the first time when I saw a video of you and you made your hair, and before you started actually talking, and I said, like, what is this? Like, what is she doing? She's looking after the makeup and the hair, and what is going on there? And I found it actually quite a little bit weird, but also interesting, because it was so normal. It was not not artificial. It was just like normal, because we all want to look good, like, before we go on air, and you just like did it while you was on air. And I watched also the video when you, like, I don't know how many years is this back, like 2 years or even longer, when you explained like how to do a flower wall, and you took us actually in the backside of the flower wall. So I was actually quite interesting how you do that, and I was so much surprised. Like, sometimes we think like it looks so perfect, and it must be a hell of a structure behind, and it was just so simple, and this was so gorgeous to see, actually.
Yeah.
That that you take us, like, and you show us the
behind
the scene. Yeah. And I think this is also part of your success, that you are so natural, sharing the things that you do, and let us all be part of your daily work.
Yeah, even my mom even said that, like, when I was a young child, I go to church, and I would ask my mom, like, Mom, do you have quarters that I can have? And she'll just give me a handful of quarters. Here, what do you need it for? Oh, I'm gonna give it to God. And then I took all my change, and I was like, oh, you guys don't have money to give to God to tithe? Here, here's money so you can give it to God. So from then on, she knew that like my heart, I'm always giving. So even when I host parties, I always think of other people and do I have enough food? And I'm always helping others. So then like when I went into teaching and then now into flowers, it just coincides together. And I love teaching people about flowers. So then when I stopped doing preschool, I did ROP, and then ROP is an extension for high schoolers to let them learn outside world, like mechanics. There's like mechanics, there's auto body, there's floral classes. And then when I went into that floral class, I was looking around to see what the teacher was teaching, and she goes like, oh, this is your budget, and what are you gonna do? Let's say you have $10,000. What are you gonna use that $10,000 to create a wedding? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so me. And I fell in love with it. And I was like, dude, I love teaching other people what I learned so that other people can learn from me too. And sometimes I come up with ideas. I'm like, I don't know what to teach, but I love being a teacher. And when I was a little girl in church, we would always perform in front of others. So I'm not afraid of being in front of an audience as a teacher too. I think you have that capability of talking to people in public. So that to me, I think was one of the many talents that I have is when I teach, I feel so at home and I feel at ease and teaching other people. Sometimes I do videos that I don't even talk. I just mute it out because there's people in the background talking. I just turn off the volume. I was like, I show them visually. They're like, wow, you don't even have to talk. And I know exactly what you're trying to teach. And they loved it. So I love teaching. In the beginning, I was skeptical of doing videos, and people was like, oh, you should do this instead, and you should turn down the music or in the background, because when I work, I love pumping up music. I'm like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
get that. Yeah, I don't drink
I
coffee,
saw you
but
sometimes in your cold room, and before you started, you turned on the music, even in the cold room.
yes. And then going back to freelancing, and then when I freelance for other people too, there was this older lady, and she goes like, oh, she was the owner too, and she's done flowers for 30, 40 years. And she's like, Jenifer, how would you do this? How would you do that? And then like she literally asked me instead of her workers, because I guess her workers been there for a long time too. And I was like, wow, like she really listens to what I have to say, and like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. This way it looks better. And she took all of everything that I suggested and she took it into consideration. She goes, how would you do this? How would you make this? I'm like, well, the tall centerpieces, I wouldn't use mache, but I use a lomi dish and I put chicken wire and I tape it. She goes, really? It stays? I'm like, yeah, it does stay. So then from then on, I taught her, and then she's like, wow, I would use this. I would implement this. And it worked.
That's amazing. And I think this is also like what by the end of the day sets you apart from so many others, that you are giving. And I think people who give, they cannot lose anything. So some people think the more they give from themselves. But no, I think the more you give, the more you get back.
Maybe not from the same source, but in basic, you get more back. And even what you said before, like giving or sharing, I think like the both of us, we love to give. And we have actually a very positive feeling, like when I make a present or I surprise someone, is for me like is more fun maybe for me to prepare all of this than maybe is for the other one to receive it. So for me it's actually quite the process for the surprise or for the giving is enjoyable. And I think that's maybe also a part why you and some others like love doing this, because also we do it in a certain way for ourselves.
Yeah, we do it just we give so that we can feel good. Someone taught me a long time ago that the only way for you to make money is to help others. And I thought of every single occupation, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher. It's all about helping others. You can't make money without helping others.
Yeah.
Right. And I think specifically, I mean, the time that we are now in, I think we as companies and we as people are going to be defined by how much we can actually give back to society and like to the people around us, to lift them up and to lift their spirits. And I think it has nothing really to do with also giving money. It has to do with giving inspiration, or giving like education, or just giving a smile to someone, you know, who had a rough day, because there are a lot of people who are having a rough day these days. So I think that this is like, as much or as little you can do is going to help someone out there. Because I mean, we are in stage 4 out of 5 lockdown after 8 weeks. So the people in our country are
We
really...
haven't seen flowers for weeks before, actually a week ago. So there was no one flower available, no single stem. Actually, on the day of lockdown, everybody, like all traders, had to destroy the flowers that they still had.
Yeah.
And we went in lockdown, and there was no flower, not one single stem. All the farms had to throw away the flowers. The auction was not trading. No shop had flowers. It was actually very
only 3
dramatic.
days ago, like the government announced that people are allowed to sell online, like to have an online flower shop open, but still flower shops are not open. Tell us a little bit more about the States and like where you are based right now. Like, what is the situation? Can you get like hold of flowers? Like, what flowers are available? What is the situation maybe for people in the flower industry or florists right now?
So last week for Mother's Day weekend was really busy. I really missed, being surrounded by flowers. We order flowers. They weren't too expensive. It's just Mother's Day prices, but just the availability wasn't there. Like the light blue irises are the ones that I really love to work with when I do Mother's Day. I don't use that flower much for weddings, but for Mother's Day, like retail is like different. Sunflowers were available. The product was good. It wasn't some were damaged. I think they were old, but they were still good. We had to. I went to LA actually. I'm in California, so in LA it was very very difficult. Usually we have we have 3 markets actually, but usually people shop only in 2 markets. So one side is the Milano side, which is the owner of the flower market. So everybody rents from Milano, like every little cubicle they rent from Milano. So there's a Milano side, and then there's a Mayish side. The Mayish has, everybody shops there. The Mayish has Holland, Floor Metz is also from Holland, and all the big name brand people. They're kind of like, I guess you can say, the Louis Vuitton store. So everybody goes over there. And then some people go over to the Milano side. And when I went, when I usually park where I park, I went to that side, and then they're like, "Are you shopping at Milano?" And I literally didn't have an order at Milano, but I said, yes, I'll just shop there just to see what they had in the cooler. It was very limited. I just got my blue thistles, and then that was it. And then I tried to walk across the street to go to the mayor's side. It was locked. So then I said, how do I get over there? And he goes, you got to go all the way around. So I literally had to go in my car, go into the next building, and go up the garage. And then it was kind of difficult to park because in the parking structure, it's already very limited already, and they don't want you to park next to each other. You have to leave a space. So you park, and then an empty space, and then you park. So there was very limited parking. I had to wait in line to park. And then if I had went with another person, I would have dropped them off and let them get in line. But no, I went by myself. So I had to find parking, and people were getting in line, and it was hard to park because they were standing in line to get into the market. So then I finally parked, and then, I got at the end of the line. It was a long wait. I'm like, hey, Carlos, can you bring up my flowers up to the garage on level 2? He says, no, I can't leave because there are people shopping here and I need to help them. So I had to wait in line. It took like maybe an hour or 2 to get in line, and then there were only limited people coming in. Once I got in there, I went downstairs. They had an arrow. You have to follow that arrow so they can control the traffic. So you have to go one way and then out around if you want to, like, let's say I wanted to shop at this person, and literally my exit was right there. I can't go back. I had to go all the way around to
All the
get
way.
shop at that person.
Oh,
Yes. So then, like, once I'm done shopping, it's not like where I can shop, like, oh, I can shop here. Oh, do they have, Snapdragon? Do they have stocks? Oh, let's go to the next shop. Oh my gosh, the other shop was cheaper. I wanted to go back. I couldn't go back. I couldn't go backwards. So I had to go only one way around. So it was
One
very
way.
difficult. Not all the shops were opened. Usually maybe there's like, I don't know, 30, let's just say 30 shops there. Maybe only 10 were open. And
Oh,
then
wow.
it was very difficult to shop, and I was like really scared. I had to wear on the mask, and then I got home, I showered, I took off my clothes because I don't want to get everyone sick at the shop too. They're like, you need to go home and shower. I know, I'm gonna shower everything off, and all my clothes that I went to LA, I had to take off, and then brand new clothes to go to the shop. So um, we had to fulfill. We pushed out 250 orders just on Sunday alone.
Wow.
On Saturday, Friday, we were like bombarded. Like people were getting it out in line because on Sunday was Mexican Mother's Day too on the 10th. So it was even more hectic. Everyone was trying to get flowers for their moms, and we couldn't help everyone. We couldn't even pick up the phone to take orders. We just stopped picking up the phones, and then
Shame.
yeah, it was just insane. And then to fulfill our orders, people were calling in more and more. And then we're like, dude, we don't have enough flowers. We can't fulfill the orders. Boom. Okay, I'll go to Trader Joe's. I go to Whole Foods. I went to another wholesaler. I'm like, I'll get whatever you have. Lemon tips, I'll get it too. Just to just to fulfill our
Do
orders. So
something.
it was really, really crazy. But, I'm very surprised because when I went to Whole Foods, they had quicksand, they had faith, they had like these,
really?
Wow.
Wow.
yes, they had Explorer, like the bigger red roses. They
Yes.
had Playa Blancas. I was very surprised. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are Playa
Wow.
Blancas. And
Yeah.
they were only $18. But when you go to the LA market, it was $30 a bunch. So it was way cheaper. Also, I got what did I get? I got tulips. They were two bunches for $10. I'm like, dude, that's so cheap. One bunch for
That is
$5.
interesting. Excuse me, when I interrupt you, when you are talking about prices, maybe let us a bit know, like this roses or this tulips, for how many stems you paid what, because this is always a big discussion here in our country. Like, what are the prices? And when some people hear some prices, maybe what are imported flowers, and they say, oh, wow, what, like, tell us a little bit, maybe you just said it, like how many tulips you get for what price, or how many like roses you got for what?
I think everybody in the Facebook group and Instagram, they're like, oh, like how much you get that for? I think LA, we're very, very spoiled. I went to San Francisco, I went to Washington, all on the East Coast. I didn't have time to go over on the West Coast or East Coast yet, but on the West Coast, LA is the cheapest price. So sometimes when I do out of state weddings, I have to ship my flowers from LA to go there because it's cheaper. Because the first two luggages you get it for free. The third one is only 35. The next one is 50 and 50 and 50. So when we get our roses, our standard roses, they usually range from, you can get it for $12 and it's 25 stems. $12. Sometimes the standard is like 16, 18. The Playa Blancas are like $20. The quicksand are sometimes 18, $20, but nothing more than that. You get garden roses, which comes in 12, and
Per
they're
10 stem, right?
12. 12.
12. Okay.
Yeah, for garden
12.
roses, and they're $36 just flat. Like Patience, Kira, whatever you wanted, they're still $36. Our tulips come in a bunch of 10, and they're usually, you can get it for sometimes 6. I usually get the double tulips. It doesn't matter if it's double or single, it's both
Yeah.
all the same price. $6, $8, but when you go to Whole Foods, they had 2 bunches, which was 20 stems for $10. That was even
Wow.
much cheaper than
Yeah.
the market. So I was really surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also had peonies. We had Trader Joe's had peonies, 5 stems. It was $7.99. It was $8 instead. Usually at the market, when I bought this peach peonies, and I bought white peonies. Each of them, the peach one was $8.50 for one, and then the white one
$8
was
for one.
$5 for one
Yeah,
stem.
exactly.
for one.
Just say this again. $5 and $8 for one stem.
Yep.
Because this is when people, like in South Africa, people love peonies. They just love it. People get mad here about peonies. But also, in a lot of time, a lot of people have no clue what prices are actually out there in the world. So when we sometimes come up with prices and they say, oh my God, and then they think we make so much money on that. But no, we do not. We actually
Yeah.
get these prices just from the farms. So that's what it is at the moment. I mean, right now there is a little bit better. Yeah, there is a flush now.
Actually, and farms are really desperate to sell, like anywhere they can right now. I mean, this is like the sad story right now for the peonies, because still a lot, I think on a lot of occasions, like Mother's Day was not as big still in many countries because of the lockdown situation and because of very high restrictions to trade. So that's
Even
why
for-
now people are trying to push things through the market.
Even for us, we tried actually to get peonies here. We could get peonies, but we couldn't get a flight to come here. That is actually the next. Yeah, we couldn't get any flight to get the peonies here. So that is our situation. But I love to ask you another question. And I just last week, I read something, and that then I reached out to you talking about that. You did something what not a lot of people do in a COVID-19 time, because where everybody is getting smaller, is shutting down, is just like
being very cautious about the expenses.
You did something unbelievable.
What did I do?
What have you done actually? Tell us.
Oh. um
You bought something, right?
I did. I got rid of all my debt, and now I'm in bigger debt. I bought a I'm never gonna be out of debt. During this COVID, my mom said, your cousin bought a new house. I'm like, okay, good, great for him. You should reach out to him. Okay. So then I reached out to his realtor, and it was kind of crazy. And I said, oh, during this COVID, I wonder how it's going to be like. Because we've been searching for a home for 3 years, and it didn't work out. We qualified for the houses here are pretty expensive in Orange County. So we only qualified for 500, which we had to move farther away, like an hour away from our family in Corona. And, it's usually hot right there. I wanted to be in Orange County, so we waited. So now that we qualified for a house for 650, we're like, oh wow, that's amazing. We can get a house in Garden Grove. So now I live in Garden Grove. I bought a house in Garden Grove. It was 625, and I think it was God who did everything. It wasn't even me. This house, it didn't need a lot of it didn't need a lot of renovation, just the cosmetic part. The house was blue. I don't like blue. I want a peanut gray. Like, I like neutral colors. We did our paperwork in 2 days, and then the first month of May, we were looking for houses. Within 3 days, I'm like, this is the house. And then on Sunday, we were on escrow, and less than 20 days, we got the house.
Wow, amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. And this is a crazy thing, but I think you have done the right decision.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, even in crazy times, when your gut feeling is good, just do it. I think just do it.
And I think also it speaks
I had
about
a really
your
great feeling
vision,
that this is the
and
house.
about your, the way how you see also the future. And I think a lot of people also need maybe this little push, I think a lot of people think with this COVID, things are finished, they are done. No, I mean, there is going to be a time after this pandemic, and where things are going to start to be better again. And I think we have to believe that things are going to be positive in a way, again, and not just dwell on maybe the situation or that we cannot change it, but by the end of the day that we are all responsible, like, for our own acts and what we do and how we see the world. And I think that's great, like, that you took the step and just like dived into a little bit uncertainty as well, but to say, it's the right time now, better now than never. And I think that's quite,
and it
quite
actually,
interesting.
this was exactly what actually put the trigger on, and I said, okay, I have to talk to you about that. I said to Alfie,
Yes.
when I read this in the morning, I said to her, this is unbelievable, such a positive vibe actually that you send out, and I need people to let this know, because I mean, there's so many, like, as Alfie said, uncertainty and negative and fear. There's for a lot of people a lot of fear, and this is real, but also at the other hand, there's so many opportunities, and sometimes you just have to do it, and I like that. I want to say I like that, and this is such a positive example that I want just to say congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we love our home. It we're getting married in August, but I think it has to be postponed now because of the COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think 200 of my family are gonna fly out of out of state to come attend our wedding, so we have to postpone it. Even my wedding dress is in, but I can't even pick it up right now.
Yeah,
They won't even let me
but
pick
is
up
there
my dress.
restrictions, like here there is like a complete a shutdown, so not any function can actually take place, not even you can get married, like only the two of you. So there's only funerals permitted, but nothing else. So is there something that you already know, like in your area, what is going on, in which direction it goes?
So our city has rented out the stadium, like it's like a baseball stadium for people to get married. They allow that now. People have been doing that. I see people do virtual weddings now, so all of their family can go on Zoom and attend their wedding. I know that people out in Huntington Beach, they're rioting right now. There are people out there just not wearing masks, and um, they're just rioting against everyone. So they just don't want to be on lockdown anymore. So there are people over there who are fighting it. They're Costco right now. If you go, you have to wear a mask. If you're not gonna wear a mask, they're not gonna let you in. During this COVID, when I was looking for houses, they require us to sign an addendum. So we have to say that we're not sick, and we have to wear a mask at all times, and if we touch anything, we use hand sanitizer. We had to use their slippers to cover our shoes when we come inside the house. So everything was like very extra. We had to go through that extra mile just to do that COVID, to look for a home.
It's actually it's a bit surreal. I think, like, still, I mean, for me, when I go out with the mask, I feel like I'm going to an operation, or like, I don't know, like it's like really unreal. And for me, the worst part is you don't see people smile anymore. Like, this is like, you just look like in like very,
The
very
eyes.
unemotional faces, and
Yeah.
I think that is really something I cannot really still cope with this. It's very, like, sad somehow that you don't see someone's emotions or reactions towards something anymore, and we are all so much based on emotion. I mean, we do events, we do weddings, we do celebrations, we deliver flowers, so it's all got to do with, like, somehow, like, a reaction that you see someone smile, and just some positive vibes there. But right now that's really hard.
So you postponed your wedding. Do you already have like a new date set out, or is it still not decided, because there's also a lot of like, particularly in our industry here, in the event industry, which is really, really hardly hit, because we will be in the event industry the last actually that are
Will be
allowed
allowed to
to
operate again.
operate and to open again. So a lot of like couples here in our area in South Africa, as well as in the neighboring countries, they have postponed already to 2021, because a lot of people don't really see that there is a lot going on in this year again, because also our wedding season usually starts in October, September, October, and then we go over, because then it's actually our springtime, and we go over into summer, and then until April, May, this is our wedding
Actually,
season until now. So but for the start of the season, not a lot of people really see something bigger coming. So
Happening.
what is actually, like, this is in your area, what's happening there?
Well, I did weddings in July, and then February, I did one or two weddings, and then March, I was all booked up. April and May, I was booked up, and then it got all postponed. I think my next one will be July 18th, but I think that one has to be postponed again. But I haven't talked to my venue yet, so I have to figure out what they are, what the board says, because I did tell them that LA County is doing a stay-at-home order until August, and in the East Coast, I think it's gonna be even longer. So I'm just gonna wait, and then I asked the fiance. I said, "What do you think about a Friday wedding or a Sunday wedding? You know, if we can't do it on a Saturday." Um, but my mom said, "Why do a wedding when you already have a house?" But I just want to throw a big party. I want to throw a big party and
Yeah, why not?
people
And
dancing, and
sometimes,
then
plans change. Yeah.
yes, and then people
This is
having tacos or pho after hours. You know, late at night at 10 o'clock, they can have tacos and churros and pho. I don't know if you guys ever had that before, but that's what people love to eat here when they're partying and dancing away. And I just want pictures. You know, like I want pictures for my kids to look at, so they can say,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's mommy in her dress," and I just want pictures, and I love pictures. Pictures is what you hold with the most. You know, you can't hold your
yes.
flowers forever, but you can show your kids like, "Oh, mommy loves lilies of the valley."
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I throw my wedding flowers away about 10 years ago only, because I kept them, but then I couldn't keep them because they were in bits and pieces. So
You dried them.
I
right?
know
dried them.
they fall off the lilies.
Yeah,
They fall off.
exactly.
But can I ask you, when it comes to your own wedding, how particular are you as a floral designer uh, with your with your
Yeah.
wedding flowers? So,
Well,
like, what was on your mind, like when you said, like, okay, you had a plan for August, like, would you want to do it yourself? Would you want to give it to a good friend of yours? Like, how much of a bridezilla in terms of flowers are you on your own wedding day? Like, can you maybe relate now a little bit more towards, like, all the other people and brides out there? So what is your own feeling when it comes to your own wedding and flowers?
so I wanted to do the flowers. I don't physically like to do the flowers. I do one mock up. So in my company, I usually just do one flowers and then one centerpiece, and then my team, copies that recipe. But for my wedding, I literally trust my team in doing it because they've been working with me for so long. So I have a good friend of mine who also works with me. She's gonna do one of my bouquets, and then I'm gonna have another person do my bouquet, and then another person. So three people are gonna do my bouquets.
Okay, wow.
Three different styles. Like one is just all lilies of the valley, and then one is a very garden theme. Greens and white. I love white, but I'm kind of contemplating. I was like, okay, should I really do what I want? But my wedding coordinator, she does have a point. She says, why do all white? Like people have done it before. Can you be a little bit different? Because you're in the wedding industry. Do some color, pop in some color in there or something like that. So I'm still negotiating whether or not what I want for my wedding flowers, but for sure I know I want the Lilies of the Valley bouquet. That's all I really want, and everything else, like I've always wanted all white, but it has been done so many times before. It's kind of redundant, and people's like, oh, that's Jennifer's flowers. You know, it looks like, you know, her other clients and her other clients, you know, weddings. So I have to figure out what I want to do.
Put pressure on you. I think if you like white and you want to have that, I just like to encourage you to do white. I mean, you do it for yourself. It's not for the pictures of other people, or
not this time.
Not just for you. And also, like with the Lily of the Valley, I mean, this is so unique. Not a lot of people do this actually. I mean, maybe they do a bouquet or something.
Roses,
yeah, but if you do actually more Lily of the Valley, just like as a main flower, I can just imagine how amazing this will look like. And I already see it in my eyes. Yeah, I can see this already.
Beautiful. Yes.
Everybody puts so much pressure on me. They're like, I can see what wedding flowers look like. It's flowers galore, but really, I want more candles.
No, don't. You know what? I think this is. I spoke to another florist the other day, and she said she gets married now, or she wanted to get married now. She also had to postpone it, and she said, I never understood why a bride is so nervous and so particular. With her flowers, and she maybe tries not to trust me and want to control everything, but since I get married, I'm almost the same. so this is exactly what maybe the problem is, that we as florists or as people in the flower industry, we get so much pressure from outside, what we have to do and what other people maybe expect from us. They maybe expect from you a Karen Tran wedding, like with hundreds of like, I don't know, big like installations, but maybe you rather want to have small little Lily of the Valley fields in moss or whatsoever, you know, that just grow out of the garden, that it looks like a whimsical garden, or I don't know what, you know, but just like totally opposite what people actually expect from you. And I just want to say, do what you love to do. Do what you love. Is your wedding, and you will have to look at the pictures for the rest of your life, and you must enjoy that.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And if you struggle, send the people to me. I will convince them that you will get what you want.
Yeah, I really love it. I love.
So much.
Thank you. Yeah, I love flowers too much, you know, like I love every color, even like the antique colored Lysianthus. Those are my favorite. Mauve is also a really popular color that I love. I love Faith. I love Quicksand. I love Playa Blancas. Those are like,
I love it.
This nude colors also now.
And Toffee, Quicksand, Toffee, all this nude.
Coco Locos.
Exactly.
Yeah, those are my favorite. Distant Drum, they're my favorite. I just love so many, but ultimately it's always usually white flowers.
Mm-hmm. But isn't that fantastic? Actually, look, we are actually a world away from each other. I mean, we are in Africa on the southern tip of the world, and you are in America. Yeah. And when we talk about flowers and we call like names of flowers, we are just like on the same page. You know, we know what we are talking about. We know exactly how it looks like. Isn't it fantastic to speak this flower language and
yes.
to know that isn't it?
It connects. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. Lately, I've been buying flowers for my house, and then my sister's like, "Oh, I knew you would buy that flower." Or she says, "Are those peonies?" I'm like, "No, those are not peonies." She goes, "It looks like it." I said, "It's a garden rose," and she goes, "Well, it looks fluffy like a peony." I'm like, "Yeah, because I love garden roses." And now my fiance, every time he drives around, he's all, "Those are jasmines. Those are jasmines." He'll know.
He's
like I'm like, yes. yes, honey, those are jasmine. He goes like, oh, I love that smell. And I was like, I'm so glad you love that smell because it's my favorite too. And it's white. And then he goes, those are lavenders. And he'll point it out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I created a flower monster because now he knows his flowers.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
Flowers
But
bring people closer together, I think.
yes,
Wonderful. Whenever you have time and we all can travel, you are most welcome to come here to South Africa.
maybe
I would
honeymoon.
love
Yeah.
to go there.
Yeah, maybe honeymoon. Yeah, that is actually a very good idea.
We can visit maybe a protea farm or some other
Exactly.
flower farms,
Yeah.
and yes, that would be amazing.
And we have a place on the beach to stay.
Yes.
That sounds so wonderful. I love
Thank,
it. And then
thank
if
you
you
so
guys
much,
ever
Jen.
want to, if you guys ever want to go to Disneyland, you guys can always come and visit here and stay
Oh
with us.
yes.
Yeah, I have a little child actually that I can take with me.
Yeah, we live very close to Disneyland. We're like maybe 5 miles away.
Oh,
Wonderful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for this opportunity. Jenifer, we wish you a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you for waking up early for us.
Of
And
course.
thank you so much for sharing your story and your very inspirational story. I think a lot of people needed to hear this. And also like your refreshing personality. So it was really, really lovely. And thank you so much for taking the time to just share this with us. And we wish you all the very best. Stay safe, stay sane, and do your white wedding the way how you want it.
Yeah. I will ask you shortly before the wedding again, like if actually you do
Everything
what
is
you
still
want.
on track.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you
And
so much
yes.
for having me. I really appreciate talking to you and all the love that
No,
you share
thanks a lot.
in our
And we
industry.
really appreciate your time. And it was amazing talking to you. And I'm always saying this. I don't know. We talk an hour, and it sounds like we have talked about
Just
10
few
minutes. Like
yes. But lovely. Thank you so much. All the best to your family. Enjoy your new home.
Yeah.
And I think I've read people want to see like how you're doing some DIY home decoration and home renovation things. So I think maybe that's another line.
And your opportunity is taken.
Another line for you how you can maybe just make some other people more happy. So thank you so
Yes.
much for
Thank
sharing
you.
the morning with us.
All
Keep
right.
well.
Thank
Bye,
you so
Jenifer.
much.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.